What are your memories of your submissions match with Chris Benoit, and what are your thoughts on the whole tragedy?
Overall, like, if you're gonna say quality matches, what guy I had the most quality matches with, it was Chris Benoit. Um, Him and I had a chemistry that nobody else had. I think it was, we both were so intense. We had the intensity that when people said, you know what, this whole show, it's been a lot of fun, and I've been entertained, and I've had a lot of, you know, it's exciting to be here, and I really enjoy these matches, but this one's real. This one's the real thing. You can tell. Look at these guys, So fans kind of, they went from the entertainment aspect to, the edge of their seat, like, okay, this is the real thing here. These guys are actually really gonna go at it, and that's how I always felt with Chris. The fans, kind of went into their fantasy world of this thing's a real fight, and these guys are real wrestlers, and they're gonna go at it. And Chris and I had so many good matches. I can't remember.
Cage
I
match.
like to say, yeah, the cage match was just crazy. That was Chris and I just trying to prove to the company what we're capable of doing. It was stupid. And the biggest bump wasn't my moonsault, it wasn't his flying headbutt. It was the German off the top rope where I landed on the back of my head. Chris Benoit Germaned me from the middle, not even the corner, from the middle. I was on the top rope and he was behind me, Germaned me, and I landed on the back of my head and flipped over. That was the worst bump I took. That's a finish.
All right.
Yeah, we watching that, when I watched the match, watching it, I saw Austin, and the look on his face was more of a, I don't want to wrestle these guys, they're too dangerous, forget that, like, this is ridiculous. And I saw the disgust, and he's right. I mean, if I were the top guy in the company, and these two guys are the next two guys I'm going to wrestle, and I'm watching them in the ring and they're doing all this crazy stuff, I'd be like, I'm not wrestling these guys either. So I understand his concern, and I took notice of that right away, because Austin he was always talking, wouldn't keep his mouth shut when he was on commentary. That night he barely said a word, because he was just like this the whole time. He couldn't believe it, like, oh my God, I am not wrestling these guys. They're too dangerous.
Right.
So, me and Chris were just trying to prove to everybody, and I think we were wrestling more for the pops than actually telling a story and trying to make the cage mean something. Instead, we're doing all these crazy stuff. Why would I go to the top of the cage and have a chance to win by leaving and end up moonsaulting back in? I mean, there's no psychology to that. It was just a stunt.
All right.
Did
Did you get heated off from the office? Or
no, man, they loved it. But to me, looking back, it's like, Kurt, what were you thinking? I like to have everything make sense. A reason why I would do something. I like to progress. I don't like to backtrack. A lot of guys, you'll see a lot of guys, and I do it every once in a while just for the spot's sake. But let's say I start throwing punches at a guy. Why would I quit throwing punches or not try to take him down? Why would I stop, run away from him and hit the ropes and come back?
Right.
That's not progressing. You don't run away from a guy. In real life, if you're fighting a guy, you're not going to say, and let's just say it's in a park or in a bar. You're in a bar and you're hitting him, and you're like, all right, I'm going to take a big running start. Here I go. I'm going to run away from him.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. That's the same thing doing the moonsault off the top of the cage. I could have won the match. Just all I had to do is drop down. So it's psychology. It's a lot of things. The art of pro wrestling. We're at a very difficult stage right now because there are very few of us that really know how to work that art, and it's up to us to teach the younger generation before it gets lost entirely. I don't want pro wrestling to be a bunch of spot fests. I want guys telling good stories,
right,
and making everything mean something. Putting somebody in a headlock and then switching it to a hammerlock and then going right back to a headlock again. Why would you do that? You didn't progress. You ended up where you started. So why'd you do all that little thing? Well, just to show off. It didn't do anything. Put him in a headlock, take the guy over, get him on the mat. Now he's closer to being pinned. You know, I mean that's my philosophy, and that's a lot of that art is starting. You know, we're not losing it yet, but you know, a lot of guys that are here, some of the guys that are really good at it just need to teach the younger guys and keep it going.
What are your thoughts of the whole Benoit tragedy?
Uh, I I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm shocked that it all happened. I never thought that Chris would be capable of doing anything to that degree. But I also understand that Chris, you know, I know that his family, you know, had some, you know, he had some marital problems, and you know, he just, you know, he just snapped. I don't know what made him snap. I know as a fact, and this isn't to put down Nancy, but I know as a fact, Chris was very concerned about his wife and kids when he was on the road. I think that Nancy started to take some of the some prescription drugs, and Chris got a little bit nervous about the kids, you know, being taken care of. That might have added to it. You know, I also heard that Chris might, you know, I heard that there was Nancy filed for divorce a little bit earlier, and you never know what really set Chris off. But you also have to understand that Chris, let's not blame it on the concussions. Let's not blame it on steroids. Let's not blame it on marital problems. Let's just say that Chris was a lonely kid that was crushed when his best friend died. And when his best friend died, he was never the same again. And, you know, I don't know what set Chris off, but I do believe that Eddie Guerrero meant more to him than anybody else that Chris knew on this planet. And I think it's because of Eddie's faith in God, because of Eddie's presence. Eddie was not just a good friend, he was a brother. You know, if you were on Eddie's good side and you were close to Eddie, you know, he would literally pray for you every night, and he would read the Bible and study the Bible and tell you verses and try to help you cope with your own problems. He actually helped me save my own marriage. So I just think that Chris, I don't really have any, you know, true comment to why he did it. I just know that Chris at that point was a lost soul. And you cannot blame WWE. You can't blame WWE for Eddie's death. You can't blame WWE for Chris's death. We all have options. And when I was ready to crack, I knew it was my time to go. If the schedule is that demanding and you cannot do it anymore, then you speak up. And if they decide they can use you part-time, great. If they decide that they want to use you full-time, you have a choice. Do you want to stay or do you want to quit? I chose to quit, and Vince gave me that. He let me make that choice. I respect Vince for that, because he could have stuck me to my 5.5 years I had left.